one-lunger engines that were used primarily for pumping water, running generators, running milking machines on old farms. And what it did is when these first became available back at the turn of the 20th century, 19th, 20th century, people would buy these things, and rather than having to pump water by hand, this would do the job for them. So for about $100 you could buy a machine like this and free yourself up for an hour or two a day to go do something else. Kind of the part of the Industrial Revolution that allowed men to start producing more, making more money in the farm. So consequently, we like to keep it alive. There's, you know, I mean, these things were very, very primary and rudimentary to the invention of what we now take for granted, such as water being pumped in our houses, electricity being made. All of these engines here and tractors come from probably about a 20 to 30 year range, and they all exhibit different purposes. This particular engine here, which was a cordwood saw, one person in a neighborhood would own that, and he would go around and cut everybody's wood for them. And what would happen is they probably supplied him with his wood in exchange for that. It was a nice barter system, which might not be a bad way for us to go back to. But we love this stuff. It's a thrill of keeping it going. Each one of these has its own personality. This one last night wouldn't pump fuel, so I've got a ball bearing that had rotted. So I gotta go find a ball bearing that would fit it. I had to remake a gasket by hand, put this thing back together, and hopefully it's gonna run. I'll probably know in about an hour. But to a great extent, it's the thrill of keeping it alive and just kind of reliving some simpler times in history and letting people know what it was like. We take a lot of stuff for granted. You turn the water on and it runs. Well, it didn't unless you went down and started this up at 5 o'clock in the morning and filled the cistern on the roof. There's a lot of things here throughout this particular exhibit, whether it's the tractors, whether it's the farm, they just put the silo up, they're blowing corn into it. All of these things were the beginning of better ideas that brought us to where we are today.